from the little that I've experienced your teaching, it's somewhat methodless. It seems, anyway, unless I'm misunderstanding or not fully perceiving, it seems low on method and technique.
It's low on technique. I mean, it's not that there's no technique there. If you listen to question and answer periods, I'm often giving people direction and guidance and try this, try that. So there is some technique, but it's certainly the technique is very light.
Yeah.
To me, there's kind of two things. There's and I combine them, and I got these out of my own experience, which is one is sitting in silence, better known as meditation, but I like to call it silent sitting because the way I teach it is in a way that's very not goal-oriented. And the idea is to have as little technique as possible. Ultimately, the technique could be summed up as accept everything exactly as it is. But that's not really much of a technique at all.
No,
I mean, it's the technique of letting go of technique. So that's one part. And then the other part, because if we only do the meditation part, whatever it is, we can end up sort of stuck in various meditative states, whatever those may be. And so I think there's this other element that I also find is really important, which is the inquiry, the questioning. Hopefully a kind of questioning that is very similar the attitude of it, like we had when we were children. Like, how far away is the star, or something that's sort of innocent like that. I think that kind of questioning adds a dynamic energy that when those are combined, it's conducive to sort of a flash of awakening.
What do your students do between retreats with you? Are there like local sanghas, so to speak, or is there something that they follow? What do they do?
There's not anything official. Like I don't really put a lot of time and attention into fostering sangha in its regular sense. I don't own a center or centers around or anything. There are groups that have formed basically spontaneously that will they'll gather and they'll watch a video, and of me teaching, and they'll often do some meditation beforehand, and then they might have some discussion afterwards. So those kind of groups have sort of gathered around, all around this country and in other places in other countries as well. And so some of those groups they want to let people know about them, and some of them they just kind of, but they're totally organic. From organizational level, we've made no attempt to form them or encourage them, but they just they pop up. So, it's kind of funny because I guess every spiritual teacher is like this. The teaching, whoever we are, tends to reflect our own proclivities and our own personalities. And when I was in really seeking a lot, I was a very sort of self-motivated spiritual seeker. My teachers used to caution me against practicing too hard, too much meditation, too much drive, too much, so there was a real sort of independence about it. I didn't need to be kind of pushed and controlled. I was always like, like a dog drooling, more and more and more. And so I guess that's what I kind of relate to. And I think people that do well with the kind of teaching that I do are people that have, where a certain kind of independence works for them as well. We come together, they engage in some of the teachings, retreats, or whatever, and then they go back to their lives. And to me, that's important too, because then they get to go back and see and actually apply it. But it's not the same as I'm totally aware that it's not the same of having a real spiritual sangha. To me, sangha is wherever we come together. That's it. There's no club to join. There's no membership. It's just we show up here at Garrison and it's like, This is our
Here
song.
we are.
This is the song, and then the song, kind of like those san mandalas that the Tibetans do, and then, boom, the sangha is gone. When we leave, and then wherever, then it reforms, and then it disappears. But I think, from what people do feel like, some of them or a lot of them feel like they're in a part of a greater sangha, but it's kind of a loose sangha. It's different, and that works for some people, and then other people feel more of a need or a drive towards a more probably established sort of community or something, and then they'll naturally gravitate to that if that's what they need.
It feels like both a pure and a challenging practice, because it sort of cuts to the chase. Like, it doesn't give you a lot of props.
No, it does. There's no props in it.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah. That's kind of the way it is. That's the teaching. Here it is, and I'm really interested in ultimately the truth, the ultimate truth about you and us and the world, and that's it. It's kind of like there are no how can I say, consolation prizes. Right?
Yeah.
There's no consolation prizes. And again, for some people that works and it's appealing, and for other people it doesn't, and so of course they'll naturally gravitate elsewhere. But I mean, from the time I got the spiritual bug that hit me in my late teens, it was just, what's real? What's really true? What's reality? That's all. So there was no consolation prizes that I was interested in from the beginning, so it kind of, I guess, naturally unfolds that that's the way it would be now.
Yeah.